Happy Friday, everybody.
Happy Friday.
Happy Friday.
It is, your weekly reminder that it is 4 p.m. Central Time on a Friday. So we made it through another week. This is the 16th episode of the Back Catalog Listening Party. Thank you for joining us. My name is Mother Banjo.
My name is Anthony Ihrig.
And joining us today, Jillian Rae.
Hello.
Hey,
And I don't know, what are you drinking over there, Jillian? I see quite the bar behind you, I have to say.
This is the bar. Right now I am drinking a cheap Vino Verde.
Nice. Nice. Good summery drink.
Summer
Yeah.
vibes.
Yeah, I have a tequila and tonic
Ooh.
over here, and with some El Jimador in that. And I just discovered tequila and tonics a few years ago. I by accident, and then I was like, why have I not known about this? And I posted about it on Facebook, and everyone's like, oh yeah, it's my favorite drink. Like,
Oh, it sounds delightful.
So
Tequila is
much
my
booze.
no-no drink, so only
Oh.
if you want to tuck me in, we'll have one.
gotcha.
And I'm going all the way to Grand Rapids, Michigan here, and I got the Founders All Day IPA.
All day.
My day
Very
is
nice.
beginning right now with you.
That's right. And hi to Gary, who just joined us. And if you guys are out there, make sure to comment and let us know you're there and tell us what you're drinking on this Friday afternoon. Dave has a Miller High lessons.
Hey,
Awesome.
nice.
Thank you guys for joining us. If you've never tuned into the show before, this is where we have a musical happy hour and we invite different friends and guest artists to revisit one of their older records, because artists spend a lot of time making these albums. And now that we have nothing else to do during quarantine except listen to music, we thought it's a great opportunity to dig into those old records. So Jillian Rae joining us, also from South Minneapolis. We're all from our different homes,
Yeah.
probably we're within a couple miles of each other, all of us.
Yeah. We can identify by neighborhoods.
Yeah,
Northrop.
exactly.
Yes.
Winona.
Central.
Yeah, see, there you go. But for those folks out there who maybe aren't familiar with your music, Jillian, why don't you give us a little 2-minute bio about who you are, what you do, and then also where this album that we're going to talk about, Wanderlust, fits into that.
Okay. My name is Jillian Rae. You already know that. I grew up in a small town in northern Minnesota. I migrated down to Minneapolis, probably in 2008. And I love it here. It's my home. I've been here ever since. I've been playing music my whole life, so my story is a little weird, maybe. But after playing in bands for years and years and years as a fiddle player, a backing vocalist, sometimes lead vocalist, I finally branched out and started my own thing. At the very end of 2013 is when I released my first record, which is called Heartbeat. So then years later, after touring, I felt like it took a little too long. So a little too many years later, I released an EP called Wanderlust. And I just wanted it to be different from the first record. This one was recorded all acoustically, no like fancy effect pedals that I play my violin out of or anything like that. And they're all songs about being on the road, which is what took me so long to put the record out in the first place, because I was just focused on performing and kind of forgot like I should really plan to record another record at some point here. So that's how Wanderlust was born.
Yeah, and even
Nice.
the name Wanderlust, were these songs inspired by the road?
Yep, that one was written on the road, actually. So they're either inspired by written on the road or immediately after returning from the road.
The road.
I
Remember the road?
know, don't we miss it? Remember the road?
I remember the road. Well, this album is a great fit. Then it's bringing us all back to the road.
Yeah.
When I was
Totally, yeah.
re-listening to the tunes too, I was feeling that too.
And
missing
you know what? We can still drive around in our cars. We just don't go as far as we used to. We might not get out of the car.
The destination might not be as exciting.
Right.
But, yeah.
Well, hi to Chris and Ann also joining us here on the Back Catalog Listening Party. And we're going to revisit this album. Came out in 2017, Wanderlust. It's an EP. And you said you recorded all acoustic. Where did you record this record?
This one I did in Minneapolis at Underwood Studio with Mark Stockert.
Nice.
Nice.
Yeah.
Cool. Well, let's dig into the music so folks can get a taste of this. The first song is the title track. What do you want to say about the song?
I mean, really with any of these, but especially Wanderlust, being that we probably all have it right now, if you can just close your eyes and picture this as a driving song, that's exactly what it is. It's a driving song.
Let's picture it, everybody. Close your eyes, take a sip. Well, wait, no, that's not driving. All right, well, let's get right to it. This is Jillian Rae, Wanderlust on the Back Catalog Listening Party.
To get right. One more time to put out the fight. I believe in you, even when we don't know what to do. As we go, figure out what to see and who we know. We don't need a plan. Just take it as it comes. Is up to luck.
We got our motor running with that. That was Jillian Rae from her 2017 album Wanderlust. That was the title track, and yeah, great driving tune.
Yeah, I could feel the rhythm of the road on that one.
Thanks. Feel the breeze. Maybe. It's not too often that you listen to your own music after you've like mixed and released it, so that was fun. Brought back some memories.
Some fine fiddle work on there as well.
Thank
Jillian.
you.
And I have to ask, did you start out as a fiddler or a violinist?
Oh, did I start out? Probably both. I took Suzuki lessons when I was a kid, and I just so happened to have an amazing teacher up on the Iron Range. She still, I think, teaches down in the metro area. Her name is Helena Pakala, and she had a performance group. So if you were showing promise and were interested in performing, you learned right away. After your basic Suzuki fundamentals, you learned like traditional American fiddle music. You learned Scandinavian. She's from Finland, so we learned a lot of Finnish music. And I know this isn't the right term nowadays. I think we would call it Romani, but we had a gypsy music set of all like Eastern European kind of like traveling songs, and then of course there was the classical set.
Nice.
Well.
So kind of a well-rounded education.
Yeah, that's where the musical ADD comes from, probably. Just you know.
It was great. Added a lot to the track and to that whole vibe. It was really fun.
Yeah, and how many times did you? How many fiddle tracks are on that track? You know, like how many times did you record over that, or is that just one?
Just one. That's a good question. So the point, you probably have to go back and listen to my first album, Heartbeat. But kind of the thing that I like to do on stage and the way I wanted to establish myself as an artist was that, like, if you play the violin, it doesn't necessarily have to be pigeonholed as fiddle and country and Americana, which I love and I play, and this record's definitely Americana. But I, at a certain age when I was younger, started plugging my violin into guitar effect pedals, and I just thought, like, that's what I want to do live as much as possible. So this was kind of coming full circle away from that, and I tried to have it as acoustic and just like one track wonder as possible. You'll hear later, there's definitely one track on the record where I did like overdubbed a more like orchestral string part, where of course you can't play that all at once. So I played a part, layered another part. But I think that's only the last track of the EP.
And when you guys were recording, did you record as a band together, or did you separate out those tracks?
Nope, this was all live. It was really interesting because I recorded this. Well, Eric Martin, who is my life partner and lead guitarist, he's kind of my right-hand man and does everything that I do. But I recorded this record with two players that I've never played with all at once. Like, they are not regular members of my band. So we had a rehearsal or two and then just went in the studio together, and it was just vibe. So of course, being separated out for isolating, the mics for recording, that was what we did, and we played. I sang everything live too.
It had that feel. You could kind of hear the space, the air in the studio, which I love. That upright bass sounded great. Who was that playing?
Liz Draper.
Oh, I should have guessed.
I know, right?
One of the best.
So good.
Yes,
she's amazing.
Yeah. That really
so who else plays on the record? Who was your band?
So Liz on upright bass, which her and I play in the Okie Dokie Brothers together. So we already have a really good chemistry, and I knew, like, oh, it'd be so cool to have you play on some of my songs. And then JT Bates joined us on drums, and he's just a drummer and human being that I've always loved and admired. And I just thought, if there's any time for us to collaborate, it's going to be this record, because it's just about vibe, you know?
For sure.
Nice.
Well, it's sounding great, and want to have some shout outs here. Alinda from Connecticut, Penny from Northfield, and Alan Hastings from Dallas, Texas. So great to have you all joining us today as we talk with Jillian Rae about her 2017 EP Wanderlust, again recorded live and acoustic, and again sounding good, a road record. Oh, there's Liz.
I found a picture. I had to dig around, but there's Liz.
Awesome.
She's a treasure here in the cities, that's for sure.
Totally. She is a national treasure, Lizard Draper.
Yes. And I think I found our drummer here. 1 second here. I'll see if I can track him down. There we go. JT.
Yeah.
Yes.
I used to spend Wednesday nights enjoying him at the basement of the Turf Club many years ago.
Cloud Lounge, yeah.
Oh, nice. But where it was at the Ice House, right?
Yep. It was a kind of an institution around here. As he is.
For sure.
And his brother.
He's a
For
gem.
sure. Well, let's see. We have the next song we have is Breathe. Which, by the way, I think is a good reminder to all of us. I don't know what kind of week you all had. Yeah. I feel like I need to remind myself more than ever to do that. Ben Miller, formerly of Minneapolis, now of
Hi,
New York
Ben.
City, from
We
the
all
band The
miss you all.
Federales. Yeah, exactly. So anyway, so we have our moment of Zen. We just breathed together. Is there anything you want to tell us about the writing of the song or about how you recorded it?
Well, I mean, you know how I recorded it.
Mm-hmm.
But this song I really, really love. I wrote it really out of a moment of stress and anxiety. I'm from northern Minnesota. Grew up in Eveleth, and my family has a cabin up in Ihrig, like just on an island in the woods, you know? So it was one of those getting super stressed about, you know, just being an independent musician and, you know, balancing the career and any sort of personal life, which is sometimes impossible. So this song kind of came to me as I was driving north, like the further up Highway 35 I got, like the deeper breaths I noticed I was taking. So I know part of this was just like a voice memo on my phone, like set the phone down while I'm driving. And I just kind of like sang a couple of the lyrics and the rest came together. And I kind of like just sat on it because it didn't sound, all of these songs really were pretty old by the time they got released, but they just didn't fit with the other music that I was writing and making with the band at the time. So after sitting on it for a while, there was another weird thing that came out of it. I was approached out of nowhere by some local filmmakers that were making a short film. And honestly, I wish I knew. I think this song ended up getting featured, but they liked the vibe and they wanted a song that kind of like went along with a scene in their film. So this kind of morphed into being like a title track for a short film, and then years later re-recorded into what you hear it is today.
Awesome.
Great.
All right, well, let's take a listen. This is Jillian Rae, Breathe, on the Back Catalog Listening Party.
Driving on the back roads, the sound of gravel beneath the tires, kicking out the dirt and the mud. City far behind, stresses of life, things that you thought were important, don't mean a thing to you now. Slowly forgetting all of the things that were weighing you down. Breathe in fresh air, so good for your lungs. Feeling like nothing matters, nothing else matters but now. The moment you're living. Not sure where you're forgetting all of the things that were weighing you down. Breathe in fresh air, so good for your lungs. Feeling like nothing matters, nothing else matters but now. The moment you're
All right, Jillian Rae with the song "Breathe" from her 2017 release "Wanderlust," and I have to say that song was what I needed today for sure.
Oh, good.
I mean, really, when it talks about fresh air is so good for your lungs, and I was just thinking, yeah, this is the one thing we all get to still enjoy right now, especially in Minnesota in this beautiful summer, is getting to be outside. It's one of the safest places to be other than in our own homes, and so.
Right.
I've really been digging being outside, and I was getting that cabin vibe that you were talking about, even though I don't have a cabin to go to. But I was picturing myself there. It was beautiful.
Yeah, that was what I needed too. My blood pressure just went down.
Right. And I don't think I don't have any other song that I've put out like that. I feel like most of what I do is pretty like peppy or at least like mid-tempo. So I feel like I'm so glad I finally put out something that's relaxing.
And so growing up, like what bands were you listening to, like in high school, let's say? Like what I hear a lot of different influences coming from, different genres, Americana and rock and folk and stuff. But were there any specific influences that maybe shape some of the music we're hearing today?
Definitely. Again, I mentioned musical ADD before. I think it really is a thing.
Great.
Also, just like influences from both parents. Like my dad very much has a musical aesthetic that he listens to, and then my mom is kind of across the board. And then with learning all this traditional folk music from other countries and just being so nerdily into the violin, I definitely I listened to classical music even when I was younger. Like it wasn't like a cool thing to do, but I just loved, especially listening to pieces that I was working on and then learning more about composers. But man, I listened to a lot of Jimi Hendrix and Led Zeppelin and Rolling Stones, David Bowie, The Who, like all of that, like Kansas, like the, kind of rock and roll genre. I think I had a framed Devo and Talking Heads record that I had the record out, but I had to frame the covers because I was so into them.
Awesome.
Willie Nelson, for sure. Big into Shania Twain and the Dixie Chicks. Like Martina McBride, like all of those female country singers that were just like ruling it in that time in like the late 90s. That was my jam. I also was a really big Incubus and Red Hot Chili Peppers fan for a while, like pretty diehard. Truly, I feel like there's not a lot I didn't listen to, and because of that, because I wasn't the best guitar player. Like I taught myself guitar and piano, but off of like playing the violin and really studying that. So I feel like at some point I've tried to play like any music that I like to listen to on the violin.
Yeah.
Nice.
Well, it was funny. Gary says same stuff I listen to. So another eclectic taste out there. And then Dave said, how did you become a fan of Zeppelin specifically?
I'm sure that's because of my dad, just having the records around. I felt like I could always sing along with Robert Plant, you know?
Not many can say that.
Well, I think women can.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly.
Like higher pitched voices. And I just felt like, man, I want to like kind of scream when I sing and let it out. So, I mean, I still cover Zeppelin songs with my band. And truly, it was between Led Zeppelin, like Jimmy Page and Jimi Hendrix guitar solos, like those are the songs that I first learned. I listened and taught myself how to like play them note for note when I was a kid. So that's kind of the music that taught me how to improvise, really, before country, which is kind of weird, I'm sure.
Yeah.
But
well, I don't know about you guys, but I didn't realize it until many years later, but Zeppelin was really my entry into American blues. They had stolen so much great blues music. I had no idea, but that's where I got a taste for a lot of this stuff. I think the first time I heard a mandolin, even like in terms of folk music, was on
oh, that's cool.
Going to California or something.
Yeah, for sure. And we had another question that came up during the last song, and Connie was asking, can you tell us about the cover art, which is one of the things I wanted to ask you about too. So I'm glad she asked that. It's beautiful. Tell us a little bit about who did it and what inspired it.
Yeah, well, first of all, it is beautiful. I saw a similar painting and like got choked up and almost cried. It's a St. Paul artist, Mike Carina, or he might go as Michael Carina.
He's awesome.
And he has now designed my last two records. This was the first one. So I found a painting of his that's very similar to this that I was like, that's my album cover. I was trying to work with a few artists in making something from scratch, and it just wasn't resonating. And I found this one that he made. It was the mountain and everything. The color scheme was a little bit different, and there's definitely like a mountain goat on it instead of a bison. And he was like, yeah, I'd be honored. You can totally use it. And then he literally got back to me like an hour later. It was like the same day as having the conversation that he totally forgot that he already told another artist like a year prior that he could use it. And this artist had already released their record. So I was just devastated. Like, this was the perfect thing. And I had been working so hard. This was like the last piece of the puzzle to come together, was to figure out the album art. Everything else was done. So he offered to make me one from scratch, similar, but putting parts of my personality into it, which he did. This is kind of a dumb story, but I'll tell you anyway. When I was really, 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 really little, I must have been like 3 years old, 2 years old, who knows. The big joke in my whole family is I used to tell people I was a buffalo before I was born. It was just, I resonated with buffalo, and truly was like, we went to South Dakota once when I was a kid, so young I don't remember, but like, you know, when I saw them I would freak out, and it was like, that was me. I've always had a thing for buffalo, for bison, so he threw that on there. Just knowing that I love them, and, you know, chose colors that he knew that I liked. And if you look, there's all kinds of different hidden messages and hidden birds and hidden messages in there. And I feel like it does say Wanderlust really small, scribbled in. That's not a part of my name in the album title on top. So Mike is a genius, and he definitely hides little Easter eggs in his art, which I love.
Yeah, I've been a fan of his too. His kind of ability to capture the natural world, I think, is special among artists, and it really fits well in this context and on the road, and you know, I love it. I think he killed it.
Yeah, it kind of reminds me like the way the kind of lighter washed out colors and the pointy mountains really remind me of some like Japanese prints that my grandparents used to have in their house. But yet it has like the buffalo and these very iconic American kind of symbols in there. It's really, really cool.
Yeah, I mean, you can see that, like, just like how I'm influenced by a ton of different, you know, musical areas. I feel like Michael is influenced by a lot of different art mediums, and he somehow is able to put it all together in one. And I think that's a special talent, and not everybody can do it. So props to him.
For sure.
I just threw his website into the the comments so you guys can check it out, because it definitely is. His stuff is worth checking out. He's an amazing artist.
And also I would say if you are liking the music today, you might want to also order one of Jillian's albums so you can have a physical version of that art and look for all those Easter eggs because it's kind of harder to see on the screen. So
Yeah, and I bet it looks really good on vinyl. Am I right,
Yes,
Jillian? On
this
a
is
big
the first
record.
vinyl I ever. Well, it's a 10-inch.
Hey,
So-
I bet it still looks better than this little screen here. So,
Yeah,
and
definitely.
are those available on the website?
They are. You can get any of my merch from my website. I'm kind of like a small operation here, so I package and send it all myself. So
Nice. Well,
I will
folks, you
get
heard
to
it. If you want a authentic Mike Carina artwork and authentic Jillian Rae artwork, you can get it from the source, Jillian Rae or JillianRaeMusic.com/merch. I did put that also in the comments so that people can click right over to it after the program.
great. And also, I hear you also have some cool T-shirts and other kinds of merch.
yes. Well, first of all, I love merch. Don't you guys? Like when you go to a concert, don't you try to buy? You probably already have the record, so you need to buy a T-shirt or a tote bag or something. So I've always kind of tried to have a decent merch game. I've sold out of a lot of stuff over the years, but right now I have more than one T-shirt design. I have a tote bag and a couple stickers and records. I was working on new merch, and I was going to make this big order in March, and we can all remember how March went down. So, I'm still scheming on what the best thing is to do, but I hope to actually come up with some new merch soon, because just because we're not performing live shows doesn't mean we can't stay connected, right?
Right. Well, one of the things one of my favorite merch items I recently saw during this time was that Devo actually has a face. They're doing the face guard. I had to say that since I know you said you're a fan of Devo. So you might want to, I'm just saying.
I mean, I'm not against going on their website and purchasing that immediately after our listening party was over.
Oh, man. So good. So if folks just tuned in, this is the Back Catalog Listening Party where we have different guests join us every Friday for this hour, a musical happy hour, and we revisit old records because, as Jillian said earlier, you often don't go back and listen to your old albums. I know I don't. So it's really fun to talk with artists, especially getting their perspective now on what they made then, because so often artists are talking about their new project, which is great. But I love hearing about where people came from and what shaped them. So the next song we have is one of my favorites from the record, Nebraska. Was this actually written in Nebraska or about Nebraska?
I mean, it kind of was. The fun thing about this song, and maybe it is one of the reasons why it's my favorite, I did not write this song. My best friend wrote this song. And I can just relate to it so well. And ever since she came home and started working on it and was playing it for me, I've been in love with it. And when I started playing music, I was kind of a late bloomer in the, write and perform your own songs thing. So I've been performing this song since day one, really, because I only had like 7 of my own songs in the beginning, that I deemed worthy to play in front of people. So this song was written by the utterly talented Ashley Northey. I met her when I moved to Duluth right after I graduated from college. And she was a solo singer-songwriter. She has the most unique voice I've ever heard. She doesn't really perform anymore. I know she still writes here and there just for herself. But if you're ever able to dig up one of her songs, like her voice is just so cool and she's a great songwriter. And with this song, her and her friend did a little tour from Duluth to Colorado and back, I believe. And the story goes is that they got in a fight on the way home from tour. And it was just the 2 of them in a car, two women and 2 guitars in a PA system, and they didn't speak for the whole state of Nebraska on the ride home. And it stormed.
Wow.
It was already you could like cut the tension with a knife. So I heard the story and I heard the song and I just fell in love with it immediately. So I'm super happy that with this, it just made sense to go in with the driving EP theme. And I had been performing it. I kind of like changed it up a little bit to make it my own. So I'm super happy that she agreed to let me release this. on my record. And Chris Koza, I got him to come into the studio and do the backing vocals. So I just feel like it has that little bit of Koza magic in it as well.
Nice. All right, let's take a listen to Nebraska from Jillian Rae on the Back Catalog Listening Party.
This corn goes for miles and miles go by. No radio, no home. The sound of silence fogs the window. And haystacks up like semi-trucks in a field that will not grow, will not grow. Nebraska, take me away. Nebraska, take me away. Nebraska, take me away. Nebraska. Maybe there'll be a sign that I can read, but it's hard to see when you're driving at this speed. An hour's passed for the cows, I guess it must be easy when you're free, when you're free. Nebraska, take me away. Nebraska, take me away. Nebraska, take me away. Nebraska. In this city of a million tears, I find you feeling sorry for yourself. You're so pretty when you close those eyes and think about the sorrows in your head. The sun is shining behind the clouds, saving itself for a rainy day. I'm so tired of traveling. I wish I had the words to say. Nebraska, take me away. 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 Nebraska.
Yeah, it makes me want to go to Nebraska. Who knew? That is Jillian Rae with the song Nebraska from her 2017 release Wanderlust. We're talking with her about the project today on Back Catalog Listening Party, and getting some great comments about that song. And I know that Tony actually also wrote a song about that drive to Colorado as well.
Yeah, Nebraska is just like a
It's a long drive.
Yeah, it's just
It's a tough one.
it's like a metaphor for something really like a hallway that just keeps extending, and there's so much there in that drive.
I feel like that should. Hi Ben. Ben tuning in as well from probably with the babe downstairs. So I was actually thinking about that on the license plate. You were saying like it's a metaphor. I feel like that should be on the license plate, like Nebraska. It's a metaphor.
Well, I wonder how many like great songs have come out of that endless drive that we've all experienced if we've driven out west.
That would be, somebody should do that. Can we get a grant written for like a Nebraska
research
anthology?
study?
Yes.
I've always thought Nebraska and Tuesday. Hear me out. You're going to hear it everywhere in songs. Tuesday. There's something about Tuesdays that just invokes, I don't know, just how much week is left or something. The novelty of Monday's worn off. But
I feel like
it's a hard one.
I hope that you are right, Tony, because my radio show is on Tuesdays. So if I could amass a nice collection of folk tunes about Tuesdays.
Start looking. I think with this research study can expand to just topics that are just, maybe part of our collective unconscious.
Right.
A songwriter, Nebraska is now a part of it, and Tuesday, I think, is part of it.
Well, that's the name of the anthology, The Collective Unconscious. There's volume 1 is Nebraska. Volume 2 is Tuesday. Can keep this going.
That's right. Well, folks out there listening, if you have any favorite songs with Nebraska or Tuesday in it, you should put it in the comments, because I'm working on putting together a whole bunch of different Spotify playlists, and maybe the next one will be one of those themes. So we would love to see that in the comments. And if you guys have any questions for Jillian, as we start to wind things down on Back Catalog Listening Party, we want to make sure we answer your questions about the album or about anything else that you might want to know about.
And I also want to point out, we've been scrolling this tip jar here. Jillian usually is on the road, and she's working hard and doing her thing. And like so many is now just sitting at home, canceling gigs left and right. So if you like what you hear and you want to support a great artist, just throw a little something in Jillian's tip jar on Venmo, or you can go to her website as well. We put that in the comments as well. It's just her merch page there. She'd appreciate it.
Yes, for sure. And Dave was asking about the muumuus, because it is true. You have said recently on Instagram, you said that now you're only wearing muumuus. So I don't know. You don't look like you're wearing a muumuu now, though.
This is a dress because I ran out. I need to buy some more muumuus. They're actually kind of hard to find. And I used to exclusively thrift shop, and now I'm not shopping at all, So working on it. But the great muumuu debacle of 2020.
I want to know more about this.
I posted, well, if you know me at all, I'm kind of a giant nerd, and that's fine. I can take it. But I made a video of myself, just like the shot was on my muumuu, kind of like moving in the wind of the fan that was going.
As muumuus do.
As they do. I just really wanted to showcase for like a few solid seconds the fact that I'm wearing a muumuu, and then I just went up to my face and said, I only wear muumuus now, and that was it. And as a joke, the title of this post was just big announcement, just because it's not. And everybody thought that was a pregnancy announcement. Everyone. So I made this post, then I put my phone off. I did my, things that I do for the day. And hours later, when I came back on, I had so many congratulations. Oh my God, are you kidding me? I'm not planning to have children. So I got a really good laugh out of it continuously. And then the text messages started rolling in. So I had to make a few statements online that I'm so sorry. That wasn't a pregnancy announcement.
That's how rumors get started.
Really, I find out that you're pregnant via Instagram.
I thought you were my best friend.
No.
Wow.
Oh,
I love
that was a fun time.
Yeah, some viral marketing ideas there.
Yeah. I didn't know that muumuus were related to pregnancy really until now. I'm just quarantining it. I have less and less reason to wear pants, number one. And it's so hot outside. I just thought this is my life now, and I'm going to rock it.
Totally.
Now, you mentioned, we were talking backstage before the show, that you're taking a little hiatus from live streaming, but are you planning on getting back into that and doing some more of that?
Yeah, I am actually. I mean, it's really interesting how the timing all worked out. When COVID started and everything went down, where we kind of knew that we had to isolate, it just started with a weekend of fly-out gigs with the Okie Dokie Brothers getting canceled, and it was a big bummer. So I started right away. I'm going to play a couple songs online and see how it goes. And it ended up being really fun for me. And, you know, people were asking me more about it and to do more of it. So I really just did it every single week since the beginning. So I did a corn stream performance every Thursday for several months. And then, I mean, really, as we all know, different, you know, shit storms have been started on different levels since, you know, quarantine life has been happening. And I think it was the week that George Floyd was killed. I live very close. That's my community. So we were already just feeling a lot of heaviness. And I was going back and forth like, I know that doing these performances are to help you escape and to bring joy, but I think I was feeling so beside myself with grief and stress and all the things that I didn't realize until we were just about to hit, you know, the live button, that I was just like, I cannot do this and it doesn't feel right. And I just had wild anxiety and just wild amounts of grief. Mm-hmm. So I ended up calling it off that day, making an announcement. Hopefully you saw it if you follow me, that I am going to take a break, but it's not forever. And truly, I think looking back, it was the right thing to do. I wish it was a little bit premeditated, you know, a little bit more planned, but I think also not occupying that space with my music and letting other voices occupy the space, letting more information just about like the important things that are happening
absolutely
be heard rather than my corn streams. So it's been over a month, I want to say, that I haven't done it. And now I feel like we're kind of getting back into the mindset where it seems like, okay, we all need something to look forward to. Do you want to play a little bit of music for us? So I'm slowly getting back into it. I just don't have a game plan. So likely, rather than you know, having a full Thursday setup like I used to, just keep an eye on your social medias, because when it feels good and right, I'll probably just do some spontaneous music playing for you.
Yeah, and I would encourage folks who like Jillian's music to not only tip her and order the CD. By the way, Chris says he just ordered a CD, so thanks, Chris.
Thank you, Chris.
But also, but yeah, I encourage folks to follow Jillian on social media. She's on all of them, I think. All the ones I'm on, she's on. And she's very good at letting you know both when she's playing, but also about those big announcements. So if you need to know about the moo-moos,
really good
anything else, it's all there.
Yeah,
and also dog photos too. Really cute dog photos.
I was going to say, I love your Instagram stories game is on point. You really get to know a bit about behind the scenes and stuff, and not every artist is willing to be as upfront. And I think go find Jillian on Instagram, Facebook, and don't forget to tip her.
For sure. And we actually have one more song left from this EP. And this is something that's kind of special about us doing an EP. Most of the albums we've done on Back Catalog Listening Party have been full-length records, so we only get like a taste of them. What's fun about this is we're getting to hear like all the tracks in order. And I know I said Nebraska was my favorite, but I forgot this song was coming. And this has gotten probably the most airplay on my radio show, Women Folk on KFAI, than any other Jillian Rae song. Partly because, I mean, the vibe is so sweet, but also that guitar lick in the beginning of this is pretty rockin'. Can you tell us a little bit about, did you come up with that? Did the guitars come up with that? Who's playing it?
I came up with it. I wrote the song. This one happened, I think it was the day after I came back from a tour. And I mean, there was a point where I was touring so much that I almost damaged my voice. Like I was on and off the road constantly, whether it was with my band or other bands that I'm in. I play in a lot of bands, aside from my own. And whatever it was, something in me snapped. I think I just had one too many shows that tour where just like little things happened that just I dealt with it in the moment, but I bottled it up and it all just like exploded out of me at like 4 a.m. the morning, like during the night after we got back from this tour. Just like sound engineers completely ignoring me and going to my male bandmates to ask like what I need plugged in for, you know, my own show, or just, you know, just things like that. Just like that level of like being the token only female around, and just like when you are noticeably treated differently. So in the moment, I feel like I just handle things like you have to, and then you just have to move on and not let it ruin your day and still perform a really good show for everybody. So this song kind of exploded out of me. It started there. So to me, it was like, this still works because this song came from being on the road. But then it just kind of, culminated into like everything I was thinking at the moment, just about, equal rights and feminism and misogyny and things of that nature. So the song is kind of like my sarcastic ode to like women everywhere.
That's probably why it resonates with me so well.
That's awesome. Perfect.
Yeah.
All right. This is Jillian Rae, Free, on the Back Catalog Listening Party.
Tell me things you think I wanna hear. Don't assume I can take the truth. I can handle it. In one ear and out the other, unless your words are filled with sugar, wrap me up in a cocoon. Take these shackles off of me. Won't you let me decide how to run my body? Contrary to what the people think. Oh, set me free. Chew me up and spit me out. Was there ever any doubt? All I am is a pretty thing. Take these shackles off of me. Won't you let me decide how to run my body? Contrary to what the people think. Oh, take these shackles off of me. Won't you let me decide how to run my body? Contrary to what the people think. Oh, set me free. Set me free.
Jillian Rae with the song "Free" from her 2017 EP "Wanderlust," and
Nice.
I think it definitely fits in with the road trip vibe for sure. It makes me want to just sort of cruise at top speed down one of those Nebraska
the
highways.
wheels turning. Perfect.
And
Good.
also, I will say one thing that's cool though about listening to it and going on the virtual road trip that we've done today on Back Catalog Listening Party is that I can drink and virtually drive, which you
That
couldn't
is a
do in real
perk.
life. So
That
there
is
you
a
go.
perk. We have to find the perks nowadays.
I was enjoying listening to the kind of the I don't know, the string section on that tune, and I always have to ask. One of my favorite things to do is listen to arrangements of songs, and one of my questions I love to ask artists is how involved you are in arranging this stuff, and is it something that you penned at home and had it all figured out, or do you go in the studio and get the inspiration there and add these layers? I thought that added a lot to the song.
Well, first of all, thank you. String arranging is one of my favorite parts, and obviously I put it all over my music. But sometimes when I'm asked to do it for other people, I'll usually be a little bit better about writing it out, at least like ideas ahead of time. But my process is a little weird, especially for my own music. I usually do it in the moment. So I'll have my manuscript paper. I'm really old school. I barely know how to operate a computer. Okay. So like using Finale and stuff. I use manuscript paper and I write music out by hand.
Nice.
When I do it. So I'll have the blank manuscript paper. And if I have an idea going into it, I'll jot it down. But usually I just start the first track by playing, and then I'll have to pencil in a little bit of what I did in order to then layer the next part and not accidentally play something I just played. So I do it kind of at my own kind of weird fast speed. If I were working with other people, like a live quartet or something, then I would write it all out ahead of time. Mm-hmm. But I feel like I kind of write and arrange while I'm in the studio. So I'm making the parts as I'm recording them most often.
Cool.
It's so fun.
Yeah, it sounds great. And you can, hear some of that classical influence as well.
Thanks, that's cool.
And I will say
that I was a liar. I did all those on every song but Wanderlust. I think I did. I just haven't listened to this album in so long. I'm so used to how I play it live. I usually play and sing, but I believe Breathe, Nebraska, and Free have layered string parts. Mm-hmm. So forget what I said earlier.
Well, I was going to say, though, if folks want even more intricate string parts and more maybe a little more unusual violin parts, so definitely your other recordings have more of that sort of produced vibe with different effects and textures. So if folks are interested in hearing the more experimental, the more Led Zeppelin inspired Jillian Rae, her new record would be a great example of that. And again, if you like what you heard today on Back Catalog Listening Party, throw something in the tip jar for Jillian, since she's not touring right now, and buy the album because it sounds even better in stereo and high fidelity. You can get it on vinyl or CD, and it sounds awesome.
And you could hang that 10-inch on your wall. It's a piece of art.
It's a piece of art, yes. Mm-hmm. I love it so much.
Yeah, and I don't know about you, but I feel like I really do think that maybe this physical part of music is becoming important in a way that it hasn't for so many years. Mm-hmm. And I found myself, on the buy button, for vinyl, for records. Just I want to hold something in my hand and read the liner notes. And that's great that you're producing those things. So yeah, definitely head over to Jillian's website and pick that up.
Yeah, for sure. And thank you all for joining us on Back Catalog Listening Party. If you like what you heard, you can always go back and listen later or share with a friend. And then if we ever have a YouTube version, we also will post that link as well in case you want to share that version. And Tony, do you want to say who our guest is next week?
Oh, yeah. Sam Miltich, wonderful gypsy jazz guitar player from up in your neck of the woods.
Yes.
Is that right, Jillian? He's up there.
I mean, I wish I knew Sam personally. Hi, Sam. I know you. You don't know me. When I was younger, I used to go to his shows all the time I think he played with his dad. Am I right?
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
Clearwater Hot Club.
Yes.
For many years. Fantastic musician.
So
and really a virtuoso. That'll be a fun one.
Wonderful. Well, Jillian, thank you so much for joining us today. So great to see your face. It's been so long.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
And
and thanks all you for chiming in. There are a bunch of comments.
Cheers, everyone. This was fun.
Yes.
Yeah. Thank you guys for joining us. And and we'll look for some live streams coming up on Jillian's social media here.
I'll get there, I promise.
In the coming weeks.
Awesome.
All right. Well, have a great weekend, everybody.
Thank you. Cheers, everybody.
Bye.
See you next Friday.